Next, we will deal with the problems related with the multi-core architecture. The main problem related with the multi-core architecture is known as cache coherency. Cache coherency. So before going into the cache coherency problem, we'll have a small introduction regarding what is meant by a cache memory. We are considering a 4-core system where 4 separate cores are there, and each of the cores are having corresponding private caches, right? And all these private caches are connected to another shared cache. Then after that, the shared cache is connected to a main memory. Main memory in turn it is connected to the IO system. So let us consider a hierarchical architecture like this. So what is the function of a cache? Cache, it is used for reducing the average access time as well as bandwidth requirement of the main memory. It will reduce the average access time as well as the bandwidth of the main memory. How it is reducing the average access time of the process? Because each of the core need not access the main memory always, because whenever it is trying to access the main memory, we already know that main memory is a slower memory. So when the core is trying to access the main memory, it will consume more time. It will consume more cycles. So instead of accessing the data from the main memory, since it is having private cache and shared cache, each core can access the data from the private cache. And if the private cache is not having the data, then cache miss will happen, so that it can go and search and take the data from the shared cache. Right. So each of the core, since it is having private cache and the private cache is connected to another shared cache, the average access time of each core for getting the data will be reduced, because it need not go to the main memory always. So average access time will be reduced. Then again, bandwidth requirement of main memory also will be reduced. Why the bandwidth is reduced? Bandwidth means if all the cores are trying to access the main memory, say almost in a parallel manner, then the bandwidth should be more, because main memory should be able to handle all the accesses which are coming simultaneously, right? So the bandwidth requirement will be more. But since it is having private cache, its associated private cache, generally each of the core will be taking the data from private cache, and if the data is not available in private cache, it will take the data from shared cache. So number of main memory access by each of the processes will be less, so that simultaneously the main memory need not handle the access from different cores, because all the cores will be generally taking the data from its own corresponding caches. At some time only it need to take the data from the main memory if the data is not available in private cache as well as the shared cache. So the number of access by each of the cores from the main memory will be reduced. That is why it is known as the bandwidth requirement of the main memory will be reduced. So the cache will reduce the overall access time as well as it will reduce the bandwidth requirement of the main memory. Then in the case of a multiprocessor architecture, it can perform load or store simultaneously. So how it can perform load or store simultaneously? Each core can get the data from its private cache. So since private cache is associated with each core, each of the core can perform the data access simultaneously, because separate private caches are there. And if we are having a shared cache with multiple cores, with multiple ports, this shared cache also can perform load store in a simultaneous manner. Right? Since you are having only one shared cache, and if the shared cache is having multiple ports, then the cores can access the shared memory also in the simultaneous manner. So these are also advantages of the cache memory in the case of multiprocessor architecture. So let us take the core 1 need to take a data from a particular address location, say for example D. So what will happen? Core 1 try to get the data from the private cache, and initially we have seen the private cache was not having any data. The data was only available in shared cache in our scenario. So when the core 1 is trying to get the data from an address location D of private cache, initially the data was not available there. So cache miss will happen. Then the core 1 will try to get the data from the shared cache. Since the data was present in the shared cache in address location D, the data will be taken from the shared cache and it will be stored in the private cache of core 1. Similarly, core 2 also is trying to get the data from its own private cache. So since the data was not available there, core 2 will get the data from the shared cache and it will store it in the private cache of core 2. Then core 4 also is trying to access the data in the similar fashion. The data will be available in core 4 now because it has access to from the cache memory. So in this example, we are considering all these 3 data are of different type. All the 3 data are different data. That is why I have shown it in 3 different colors. So 3 data, it is accessing the core 1, core 2 and core 4 is accessing 3 different data from the shared memory from 3 different address locations. Let us take this is one address location, this is another address location, this is another location. So all the core 1, 2 and 4 are accessing 3 different data from 3 different locations in the shared memory. Next, let us take the core 3 is accessing the same data which is stored in this particular location. Right? Core 3 is trying to get the same data from the address location where this data is stored, where the first data was stored. So what will happen? Again the same process will happen. It will try to get the data from private cache, but since it is not available, it will take the data from shared cache. So here you can see that 2 cores, in our example, 2 cores are having same copy of the data. 2 cores are having same copy of the data. Let us consider this scenario. Right? So core 1 and core 3 is having same data. Core 2 and core 4 is having different data. So far so good. Now let us discuss about the cache coherency problem. So let us take the same scenario what you have seen in the previous slide. 4 cores are there, core 1, core 2, core 3, core 4. Each of the cores are having its own private cache. All the private caches are shared with another shared cache. Then it is connected to main memory, in turn it is connected to IO system. So core 1 has read the data from its private cache. So initially in private cache the data was not there. So it has taken the data from the shared memory. Similarly, core 3 also has taken the same data from the shared cache to its private cache. Then core 2 has taken another data which is stored in another location present in shared cache, and finally it has stored it in the private cache. Similarly, core 4 has also accessed a data present in still another memory location. So initially when it was trying to read from private cache, the data was not available. So cache miss will happen and it has gone to the shared memory, shared cache, and it was able to read the data from shared cache to the private cache of core 4. Right. Now let us take core 1 is updating the data present in its own private cache. Previously one data was there which was present in a particular memory location. Now core 1 is updating the data. So when the core 1 is updating the data, what was running in core 1? Thread 1 was running there. So if thread 1 running on core 1 is updating the data present in the private cache, so what will happen? the data will get updated. So the previous data will be updated with the new data. Then what is happening? Then if core 3 is trying to read the data from its private cache, core 3 is trying to read the data from its private cache, and we have already seen that the same data which was previously present in core 1 was available in core 3 also. So we may think that when you are reading from core 3, you will be getting the updated data as the updation was taken place in the private cache of core 1. Since the updation was taken place here, previously the same data was shared with the core 3. When you are reading from core 3, you may be getting updated data. So we'll think like that. But if core 3 is trying to read the data from the private cache of core 3, it will be getting only the old data itself. So we may think that core 3 will be getting the updated data because the data was updated in the same address location, but it is not that case. When core 3 is trying to read the data, it will be getting only the old data itself. So even though the updation has taken place in the private cache of core 1, it was not updated in core 3. That means the updation of the data made by core 1 is not visible to all the cores as well as the shared cache. Whatever updation you have made by core 1, it is not visible by all the other cores and the shared memory or shared cache. That is why when core 1 has updated a data in a particular location, and if core 3 is trying to read the data from same location, it was not able to get the updated data. It was getting only the previous data itself. This problem is known as cache coherency problem. Cache coherency problem. So what do you mean by cache coherency problem? Even though core 1 has updated a data present in its private cache, and if core 3 is trying to read the data from the same address location, the updation made by core 1 is not visible to other cores, so that even though the same address location is accessed by another core, the data updation was not visible. This is known as cache coherency problem. Then we'll take one example of the cache coherency problem here. So let us consider 3 cores are there. Each of the core is having 3 private memory associated with it or private cache associated with it. It is having a memory and IO system. So all the caches, memory and the IO system, they are connected to a same bus network, right? So let us take, this is known as a bus network. IO system, memory and all the private caches are connected to same bus system. Let us take in the memory in a particular address location known as D, I am storing a data 5. So in this memory in a location D, I am having a data 5. Core 1 is trying to read the data from the same address location. So what will happen? First of all, it will try to read from the private cache, but initially in the private cache, in this location, data was not there. So what will happen? Core 1 will read from the memory. So private cache miss will take place and it will try to access the data from the memory. So in the memory, in address location D, data was there. So core 1 can read the data from the memory. The data will be read and it will be kept in the private cache of core 1. So private cache of core 1 is having D equal to 5. In the address location D, data is 5. So this is step number 1. In step number 2, we have already seen core 3 is trying to read the same data from address location D. So initially it will try to read from its own private cache. But since initially the data was not available here, core 3 will read from the memory. So it will read from the memory and it will keep it in the private cache of core 3. So now in private cache in address location D, data 5 is there. That is step number 2. In step number 3, what is happening? Core 3 is updating the data present in its own cache. So previously the data was 5. Now in step number 3, core 3 is updating this data present in the private cache. So what will happen? Instead of d equal to 5, it will get updated to d equal to 7. So core 3 has updated the data present in its own cache. So now d is equal to 7. The content of address location d is 7. That is step number 3. In step number 4, core 1 is trying to read the data from its own private cache. So core 1 is trying to read the data present in the same location from its own private cache. So what will happen? So when core 1 is trying to read the data from its own cache, if the write by core 3 is not communicated to all the other cores, then D will be read as 5 itself in the step number 4. So when core 1 is trying to read the data from its own private cache, since the writing of core 3 is not communicated to the other cores, when core 1 is trying to read the data from D, it will be getting the previous data itself, that is D equal to 5 itself. It will not get the updated data since this update was not available to all the other cores. So when we are trying to read the data from D in core 1, we will be getting only the old data, D equal to 5. Then in step number 5, core 2 is trying to read the data. Core 2 is trying to read the data from the same address location. So what will happen? Again, it will read from the private cache, but since it is not available, it will try to read the data from the memory in the same location. So what will happen? If the write by the C3 is not communicated to the memory. So previous case, we have taken a case where the write by core 3 is not communicated to the other cores. Here we are taking another condition. If the write by C3 is not communicated to the memory don't know that the updation has taken place in the same address location. So what will happen? When core 2 is trying to read from the memory, again the same data will be read by core 2 also. So when core 1 is trying to read the data and core 2 is trying to read the data, both the cores will be getting the previous data itself. It is not getting the updated data, even though core 3 has updated the data in the same address location. So this problem is known as cache coherency. So if the cache is said to be coherent, whenever if one core is updating a data in its own, even though in its own private cache, that updation should be visible to all the other cores, or it should be informed to all the other cores. So wherever multiple copy of the same data is there, it should be updated. Or otherwise it should be invalidated. Invalidated means the same address location should be disabled, so that when one core is reading from the same address location, it thinks that the data is not available, so that it can read the data from where it has been actually updated. So this is an example for cache coherence problem. Then we will see what are the types of cache memory, different basic type of cache memory. First one is known as write through cache. Second one is known as write back cache. So what do you mean by write through cache? In a write through cache, write to one level of hierarchy will update the data present in other levels also. In write through cache, write to one level of hierarchical memory architecture in the available in the processor. Whenever write to one level, will update the data present in other levels also. So let us take here the private cache is taken as level 1 cache, for example, and the memory, let us consider it as level 2 cache. For in the previous example, we can consider the shared memory as in level 2 and the private cache in level 1. So in the case of write through cache, what will happen? Whenever you are updating a particular data in level 1 cache, the same data will be updated in level 2 also. So when you are trying to update the data in level 1, same data will be, if the same data is present in level 2, there also updation will be taken place. Right. So when you are updating in level 1, whichever level caches are there below that, all the levels will get updated. All the levels below level 1 will be updated. That is level 2, level 3, etc. All the level memories, cache memories will be getting updated in write through cache. Then in the case of write back cache, what is happening? Write to one level will update the data in other levels only when the data is evicted from level 1 or removed from the level 1. Previous case, whenever you are writing a data in one level, it will update the data in other levels also automatically. But in write back cache, even though you have written the data in one level, that data will be reflected in other levels only if the same data is removed from level 1. If that same data is not available in level 1 or if it is removed from the level 1, then only the updation of other levels will happen. So automatically or at the or in the simultaneously the updation of data in different levels will not happen, right? The updation of the data in other levels will only happen if the data present in level 1 has been removed. So that is the difference between write through cache and write back cache. So let us take the example of a write through cache. Let us take here in our previous example, I am using write through cache, right? So we'll take the same example. Core 1 has read the data from memory because initially it was not available in private cache from an address location D. So in the private cache of core 1, now the address location D is having the data 5. Similarly, core 3 has also tried to read the data from private cache, but it was not available. So it has read the data from the memory. So in core 3's private cache, in address location D, data 5 is there. It is the same scenario what you have seen in the same in the previous example. Now let us take core 3 is updating the data present in its private cache. It is updating the data present in address location D to 7. So what will happen? In the private cache also data will be updated since core 3 has updated the data. Then if you are considering the write through cache, this is an example for write through cache. In write through cache, what is happening? Write to one level will update data in the other levels below the level 1, below the first level in the hierarchy, right? So when you are updating the data in level 1, the data present in level 2 also will be updated to 7. So in level 2 also the same updation has taken place in write through cache. Then let us take core 1 is trying to read the data from its own private cache. Core 1 is trying to read the data. Then what will be the data? The value of D, the data present in address location D in the memory is not sent back to the level 1 of core 1. So we have told that whenever a data is updated in level 1, the same data will be updated in the lower levels, that is level 2 and level 3 of in the same hierarchical state, right? But here what is happening? Even though the lower levels has been updated, the same updation will not take place in the other caches present in level 1. So if you have written a data in level 1, level 2, level 3, all those caches will be updated. But again, this same data will not be sent back to level 1 private cache of core 1. Right. So what will happen? The value of D in private cache of core 1 will not be updated. So when you are writing to level 1, level 2 and level 3 or level 4 will get updated. But that updation will not be taken back to level 1 memory of other cores. So what will happen when core 1 is trying to read the data from its own private cache? It will be reading the same data only, that is DS5. It won't get the updated data, right? So again cache coherency problem will be there. So in write through cache also cache coherency problem will be there, right? Why? Because when you are updating level 1, the lower level caches present in level 2 or level 3 will be updated automatically in the case of write through cache. But the upper level cache, that is the cache memory present in level 1 of other cores, will not be updated. So if any other core is reading the data from level 1 private cache of itself, it won't get the updated data. It will be getting only the previous data. So in write through cache also cache coherency problem is there. Then we'll take the example of write back cache. We are taking the same scenario. Core 1 has read the data from d equal to 5 and kept in its private cache. Core 3 has also read the same data and kept in its private cache. So now core 3 is trying to update the data in the corresponding private cache. So what will happen? Data will get updated. So now the data present in its private cache of core 3 has been updated to 7, right? Then since you are using write back cache, write to one level will update the data in other levels only when the same data is removed from level 1. So whatever updation you have done here will be updated in the other levels only if the data present in level 1, that is the data present in private core of private cache of core 3 is removed. If this data is removed from the private cache, then only the updation will be taking place in the other levels. But here, since the data is not removed, since the data is available still in the private cache of core 3, other level memory will not be updated, right? So the data present in L2 level, that is the data present in memory, will not get updated. So it will remain as 5 itself in the case of write back cache. Then let us take core 1 is trying to read the data from the private cache of core 1 itself. So what will happen? Since the data in the private cache of core 1 is not updated, right? Here the memory content is not updated and the private cache content also is not updated in the case of core 1. So when core 1 is trying to read from the private cache, it will be getting the previous data itself. So even though the data has been changed in the private cache of core 3, it is not visible to the other cores and memory. Why? Because we are using write back cache. So in the case of write back cache, if we are writing in level 1, it will be updated in other levels only if the level 1 data is removed. But here it is not removed, so level 2 will not be updated. And when core 1 is trying to read from its own private cache, since there also it is not updated, it will read the previous value itself. Then let us take core 2 is trying to read the data from same location. So when it's trying to read the data from the private cache, since the data is not available, cache miss will happen. So core 2 will read the data from the memory. And what will the data present in core 2? Since the value of data present in D is not updated, because here the data memory is not updated, core 3 also will be reading the same previous data as D equal to 5. So when core 2 is trying to read the data, it will be getting the same data itself. So in write back cache also cache coherency problem is exhibited, right? Even though the data is updated in one of the private caches, it is not visible to other cores as well as the memory. So when the other cores are trying to read the data either from memory or from its own cache, it is not getting the updated data, it is getting the previous data itself. So from this example, we have seen that even though you are using write back cache or write through cache, same cache coherency problem will be there. What do you mean by a coherent memory system? And what are the conditions that has to be satisfied for a memory in order to make it coherent? So what do you mean by a coherent memory system? Any read of a data item must return most recently written value of the data item. So if you are trying to read a data from a particular memory location, it should be able to read the most recently updated data. If the memory can read it like that, that memory system is said to be a coherent memory system. So whenever we are trying to read the data from a memory, and if we are able to get the most recently updated data from that address location present in the memory, that memory is said to be coherent. So it should be, if we are getting the recent data, that memory is said to be coherent. So what are the conditions that has to be satisfied by the memory system in order to be coherent in nature? So a memory is said to be coherent if three conditions are satisfied. What are the three conditions? First condition, it should preserve the program order within the same processor. It should preserve the program order in the same processor. In the same processor, if you are having a particular program or set of instructions or a thread, the program execution should be done in the actual order. So for example, P1 writes. So here, whenever we are telling that core 1 is writing, we should consider that it is actually a store operation, because P1 is writing to a processor, it is store. When we are telling that P1 is reading from a memory, we should consider that it is a load operation. We should keep this in mind. So when P1 is writing a data known as N to an address location X, P1 is writing a data N to an address location X. Then after that, P1 is trying to read the data from the same address location X. If no other data writing has taken place before that to the same address location X, what it should return? P1, when P1 is reading from location X, it should return the same data N itself. So P1 has written a data N in X. Then if no other writes has taken place, after some time if P1 is trying to read the data from the same address location X, it should get back the data N. Right. The same data it should get when it is reading from the same address location. So when P1 is reading from X, it will return N. If that is the case, then it is set to preserve the program order. So if the program order is preserved in the same processor, then only this will happen. P1 is writing a data to an address location. After some time, after the other instruction execution, if P1 is trying to read from the same location, if it is getting the same data, then it is said to have preserved the program order within the same processor, because same processor is reading and writing. Second condition is writes are visible among all the other processes. Writes are visible among all the other processes. That means if one core is writing something to an address location, that write should be visible to all the other processes in the multi-core system. If one core is writing a data, that write should be seen by all the other processor. So all the other processor should identify that an updation has taken place. Example, say for example, another core, say P2, second core, P2 is writing a data N to an address location X. P2 is writing a data N to an address location X, and let us consider no other writes has taken place after that. Then after some time, P1, P2 has written the data N to X. After some time, P1, that is the first processor, is trying to read the data from X. First processor is trying to read the data from the same address location X. So it should return the same data n. If it is returning or if it is getting the same data n, then we can tell that the writes are visible among all the other processes. Because P2 has written a data n to x, then P1, if it is reading from the same address location x, if it is getting the same data as n, which is written by P2, then we can identify that all the processes are able to see the write done by the other process. So the writes are visible to all the other processors. So that if one is writing, other processor can understand that one processor has written the data. So when I am reading the data, it will be getting the same data itself, even though the write has been done by any other processor in the multi-core system. So here also when P1 is reading, it is getting n itself, even though it has been updated by P2. Then it is known as writes are visible among other processes. The third and last condition is writes are serialized. Serialized means again in the same order, writes are serialized among all the other processes. Writes are serialized among all the other processes. So if one processor is writing, after that one more processor, another processor is writing to the same location. If it is in serialized manner or if it is in the same order, the execution has taken place. When you are reading the final data, we will be getting the data which has been written by the second processor. For example, let us take P1 has written a data n to an address location x. P1 has written a data n in address location x. After some time, P2 is writing the data m. So P1 has written a data n to x. After some time, P2 is also writing another data. It is writing a data m to the same address location x. So P1 has written n to x, P2 has written m to x. So the final data will be seen as m by both the processes. Why? Because writes are seen by both the process in the same order. That is why it is said to be in the serialized manner. So P1 has written the data to one address location. To the same address location, P2 is writing another data. So if any other processor is trying to read the data from same location X, it should be getting the resend data, that is M. If it is getting like that, then we can tell that writes are serialized. That means writes by all the processors are performed in the same order, so that if we are reading the data from an address location, we will be getting the most recently updated data. That is known as writes are serialized. So if all the three conditions are satisfied, what are the three conditions? It should preserve the program order within the same processor. All the writes should be visible among other processes. Writes are serialized among other processes. If all these three conditions are satisfied by a memory system, then that memory system is said to be coherent in nature. Then we can call it as coherent memory system.